Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be in my kitchen. I had mentioned in my grocery haul that I was going to do a pork loin dinner, and one of you had asked me how I prepare that, and I had already planned on recording this video anyway, so here we are. I do apologize. The dog has decided that it's dinner time, so she is eating. The oven's preheated and my dishwasher is running because I totally forgot I was recording dinner tonight and I just went ahead and started it. So I apologize about all the background noise. Anyway, I have a half pork loin here, which is just shy of 3.5 pounds. This is more than enough for dinner for tonight. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half and use half of it for dinner tonight, and then the other half I'm going to cut into pork loin chops for another night, and I'll just stick those in my freezer. And we'll have pork chops one night. So over here I have one medium, small to medium white onion, and I just roughly threw my knife through it. This is just going to give flavor to the pork when it's cooking. It's not really necessary to, it's not going to be served with the meat, I guess is what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up and that's why I'm not worried about sitting on the cutting board with raw meat either. So I'm going to go ahead and open this pork, loin up, if I can get it open without making a huge mess. I always do this on a plastic cutting board, something that can go in the dishwasher and be completely sanitized. That's always important. Ooh. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw the wrapper away. So, like I said, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this like so. And this half will be for dinner tonight, and then this half will be cut into our pork chops. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this cutting board and I'm going to set it up on our breakfast bar, so it's going to be out of view, but hopefully that's okay. I'm going to put this, I'm going to cook the pork in my Cuisinart Dutch oven. This isn't necessary for the meal. If you want to just use like a Pyrex baking dish or something like that, that's perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take whatever half of the roast or the loin, and I'm going to set it right in here, and then I'm going to give my hands a quick wash. I don't think it's something that needs to be said, but every time you work with meats, it's very important to keep your hands nice and clean. So what I'm going to do before I put any spices or anything on this is I'm going to add some water. Just use a bowl here. You just want a little bit of water to cover the bottom of the dish. So that was maybe a half a cup, depending on the size of your dish, of course. That's about a half a cup, just so that it keeps it moist and it won't stick to the bottom. So that was about a half a cup of water for. And then the next thing you're gonna do is you're going to add in your chopped onion, which, sorry, my arm is in the way. And this is just gonna go in the water around it. Like I said, you're just looking for it to infuse the onion flavor into the pork. Okay, so like that. And then the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna season it. Now, I'm keeping it very simple because we're having this with sauerkraut and mashed potatoes and some bread if we decide to have it. So I'm just gonna do some fresh ground pepper. Some salt. Some granulated garlic. And a little bit of granulated onion. We already have onion in there, but I just like to add this for extra flavor. So that is what you have. Now you're gonna stick this in the oven until it's fully cooked. I would say I put the lid on it. If you're just using a like 9 by 13, a glass baking dish, I would cover it with foil. So the general rule of thumb when cooking pork is it's usually about 20 minutes per pound. We're gonna call it a 3.5 pound roast, and I'm using about half. So I'm gonna let this go for about 35 minutes and I'll check it. When the internal temperature reads to 160, the pork is done. So just a rule of thumb, I'm gonna go about 35 minutes and then check it. So we're just gonna stick this in a 350-degree preheated oven, which I will be happy to announce that we are actually getting new appliances in the next probably like month or so. I'm super excited because I think I've shown in some of my videos that our pots and pans, we already got new pots and pans. Our appliances are from '94, so it's time to get new ones. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you real quick, while that's cooking, I actually have to set a timer because I'll forget, is what I do with the sauerkraut. So there's different ways of doing this. Some people might just dump it in a pot and let it simmer by itself. I like to add a little bit of stuff to it to make it a little tastier. So this is from Aldi, and this is just the German style sauerkraut, and it's as good as other brands. I prefer it in a jar over a can. To me, the can gets a little mushy and the texture's off. So I'm just going to put this in a sauce pot as soon as I can get it out with all the juices. God, it smells so good. Okay, with all of its juices. And then I'm gonna add about 3/4 of a small white onion to it. This obviously goes by taste. We're a big onion family, so we like a lot of onion. And then this part is also very, it's not necessary, but it gives it a little something extra. I like to add some beer. We happen to have a Miller Lite in our fridge. You want it to be something, a light kind of beer. My husband is more of a dark beer drinker, and he does a lot of the local breweries type of thing. So I didn't want to use one of his good beers, and I'm not entirely sure where this came from, but it's still good. So I'm going to add about half to 3/4 of the can of beer. And don't worry about serving this to children. If you weren't aware, when you cook alcohol, wine, beer of any sort, if you cook it, it will lose the alcohol content. It'll just flavor it, and it won't contain any alcohol anymore. So that's pretty much it. I like to throw in a little bit of pepper. I don't do salt because, well, it's probably salty enough already. So I'm going to stick this on the pot, or on the stove with the lid on it, and let this go. Honestly, this can sit on the stove on like low to medium low for quite a while. I would just give it a stir every once in a while, and if it's looking a little dry, you can add some more beer. So I'm gonna get that on the stove, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, so I hope I'm in frame. I didn't expect to be on camera today. I've already snowblowed the driveway, and I probably look like a crazy person. I have no idea what my hair looks like, but I wanted to come on camera real quick and talk a little bit more about the pork loin. Now, this is just one really simple way of cooking it, and honestly, you could take that exact pork loin and throw that in a crock pot the exact same way, or you can cook it that way, and if you cook it long enough, it'll get tender, and you can shred it and add barbecue sauce, and we like to do pulled pork a lot, or you can add Target makes a Hawaiian barbecue sauce that's like a sweet barbecue sauce, and we like to do that on like taco shells and do like pulled pork tacos. You can add salsa to it. There's so many things that you can do, but that's just the simple way that I like to cook a pork loin. Honestly, if I was thinking about it, I probably would have thrown it in my crock pot this morning and just kind of let it go all day, but I didn't think about it, and it is 6:45, so yes, we eat dinner quite late. My husband doesn't get home until like 7:30 or 8, so yeah, I just wanted to come on quickly and say that there's endless options that you can do with the pork, but that is the general way of how I cook it. And then obviously you can add all sorts of things to make it your own. I know pork and sauerkraut, some people add like crushed tomatoes to it, and then you make it like all together, or some people cook their pork and their sauerkraut together, which I do on occasion, but it's just the general way. And then we serve it with mashed potatoes and pork gravy, which I don't have a pork gravy mix right now, so my husband has to pick that up on his way home. But I will show you guys the process as we go. I just wanted to quickly come on and let you know that that's the standard way that I cook a pork loin, and then I add sauces and that kind of thing to make it whatever we're craving. Alright, so I'm going to let that cook. I'm going to get my pork chops cut up in freezer bags and into my freezer, and I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. I really quickly wanted to show you guys that we are actually getting 2 pork chop meals out of this. So honestly, we paid $8 and some change for that half a loin, and we're able to get 3 dinners and probably leftovers out of that. So that's awesome. I think it's really awesome to do. I think from here on out, we're probably not going to buy pork chops anymore, and I'm just gonna cut them myself. It's something that my mother-in-law does, and honestly, I never really thought about it, but I think she's onto something there. All right, I'll check in with you guys later. Okay, so I still have quite a bit of time left on the pork, but I just got my potatoes chopped up. I'm just using russet potatoes. This is 3 russet potatoes that I chopped up. I didn't do anything too small. I have quite a bit of time to let these just boil up and do their thing. I put a little bit of salt and pepper in them, and then I'm going to cover this with water and get this on the stove. Okay, so the timer has gone off, and I just pulled this out, and we're going to check it to see if it's done. I'm going to do this without steaming up the camera, hopefully. Oh, well, maybe. So this is what it's looking like. So like I said, we're going to want this to be about 160. So I'm going to stick this right in the center. And watch it go. Okay, so it's slowing down. We're at like 145, so I'm going to stick it back in the oven, which is fine because Matt is not home yet. He's actually not even on his way home yet. So I'm going to stick this back in the oven and let it go for a little bit longer. Alrighty, so I am going to go ahead and check the pork again. I'm going to stick this right back in. And we are past 160, so we are good. I wouldn't let it go much past 160 just because you don't want it to dry out. But I think where it is good. I'm still waiting on my husband to get home, so I'm not going to plate this up, but I will insert a picture of our entire meal when it is all plated up. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to give this a thumbs up if you enjoy these cooking videos so that I know to continue to make them. And let me know if you do try out this recipe, or simple way of making pork, I guess. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye guys.